Hello, everyone. I'm your storyteller for today. So go ahead, get comfortable, and let me take you to the American Midwest, to a place with endless cornfields and a story about dreams that I believe will touch your heart. Sometimes life takes the thing you love most right from under you. Sometimes the whole world tells you, you're just a girl, stop your foolish dreaming. But today, this story is for every girl who's ever had her hopes crushed, who's ever been forced to let go of her dream, and then just one person came along to relight that fire. This is the story of Emily Wilson, a 16-year-old girl from the small town of Millbrook, Kansas, who almost lost everything until her father-in-law showed up like a miracle. In the tiny town of Millbrook, where the cornfields stretch out forever, Emily Wilson lived with her family in a small wooden house on the edge of town. Emily was the oldest of 3 kids. Her father, Thomas Wilson, was a simple farmer with hands calloused from years of hard work. Her mother, Sarah, was a gentlewoman, always busy from dawn till dusk. Every morning, Emily would wake up at 5 a.m. to help her mother with breakfast, then walk nearly 2 miles to Millbrook High School in her worn-out sneakers. But her heart was always full of hope. Emily loved books more than anything in the world, especially math and English literature. Her teachers adored her for her eagerness to learn, and her friends respected her for her genuine kindness. Mrs. Peterson, her homeroom teacher, would often say, "Emily is one of the most outstanding students I've taught in my 20 years here." When someone asked about her dream, Emily would beam and say, "I want to be a teacher. I want to inspire kids just like Mrs. Peterson inspired me." Emily was at the top of her school with a 4.0 GPA. The walls of her bedroom were covered with awards and pictures of her dream universities. But life doesn't always let beautiful dreams fly high so easily. One chilly October afternoon, her father came back from town with a worried look on his face. He sat down next to Emily and put his hand on her shoulder. "Emily, the Johnson family has asked for you to marry their son, Jake. They're good people with a big farm. It's a good opportunity for you." Emily felt her heart drop into a bottomless pit. She started to cry. "But Dad, I don't graduate until next May. I already got a scholarship for the teaching program at the University of Kansas." Her mother turned away, her voice trembling. "Emily, we don't have the money for you to go to college. The crops failed, and your father had to borrow from the bank. You're a girl, and you'll get married someday anyway." Emily sobbed. "I've worked so hard all through high school. I deserve a chance." But her parents just sat in silence. In this small town, tradition and stability sometimes weighed more than dreams. That night, Emily cried until she fell asleep on her tear-soaked pillow. The next morning, she found her mother had packed all her books into cardboard boxes. Her school uniform was folded neatly. The valedictorian of Millbrook High became a 16-year-old bride on a cold winter's day. Emily's new home was a large farm 10 miles from town. Her husband, Jake Johnson, was a kind, hard-working, but quiet guy. Her mother-in-law, Margaret, was a strong, strict woman who taught Emily how to cook, clean, and take care of the livestock. Days turned into weeks, filled with kitchen work from morning till night. Emily's hands grew rough, and her heart felt emptier by the day. At night, she would often sit by the window, staring at the cornfields under the moonlight, remembering her school days. In an old wooden chest in the corner of her room, Emily hid a few textbooks and her diary. Every night, she would secretly open it, scribbling math formulas on the back of old wrapping paper and quietly reading poems by Robert Frost. She'd whisper to herself, "I can't forget. I can't let this knowledge slip away." Jake saw his wife doing these things, but never said a word. Once, he saw her crying over an old book, and he quietly walked away, not knowing what to do. Then, one Saturday afternoon in early March, Emily's life changed forever. Robert Johnson, her father-in-law,
a retired high school principal, drove in from the city to visit the family. He was an intellectual, calm and composed, with silver white hair and warm gray eyes. That night, he noticed a faint light coming from Emily's room. Through the crack in the door, he saw his young daughter-in-law sitting and writing under the light of an old desk lamp. He knocked softly. "Emily, you okay?" Emily jumped, hiding her notebook. Robert smiled and stepped in. "I saw you writing. Mind if I take a look?" Emily hesitated, then handed him the notebook. It was filled with math formulas, English passages, and diary entries about how much she missed school. Robert flipped through the pages, his eyes lighting up. "Emily, this is really good. Are you teaching yourself all over again?" Emily looked down, tears welling up. "I'm just scared of forgetting. I used to dream of being a teacher, but things are different now." Robert said gently, "You know, back when I was principal, I met a lot of students, but not many had a fire in their eyes like you do. Don't let anyone put it out." Emily looked up at him, and for the first time in months, a tiny spark of hope flickered in her heart. From that night on, Robert decided to extend his stay. Every evening, he and Emily would sit at the old wooden kitchen table. He'd pull out old textbooks and exams from his teaching days. "We'll start from the basics. When you're ready, we'll think about the GED, your high school equivalency diploma." Emily's eyes went wide. "I can take that without going to school?" Robert smiled. "In this country, it's never too late to learn." Those evening study sessions became Emily's only joy. Robert didn't just teach her subjects, he taught her how to believe in herself. He told her stories about students who thought they couldn't make it, but eventually overcame every obstacle. Sometimes Emily would laugh and say, "Dad, you're as strict as a real teacher." Robert would wink and reply, "I was a principal, sweetheart, and you're the best student I've ever taught." Jake watched his wife study so diligently. At first, it seemed strange to him, but then he started to respect it. One time, he bought Emily a new desk lamp and a beautiful notebook. "So you can write easier," he said simply. Emily was so touched, she hugged him tight. That summer, Robert got a call from the local elementary school. They needed volunteers to tutor kids struggling with reading and writing. He looked at Emily. "Here's your chance." Emily was surprised. "But I'm not a real teacher." Robert said, "You have the knowledge, you have a heart for kids, and you have the passion to teach. That's all a real teacher needs." With his encouragement, Emily went to Greenwood Elementary. On her first day, she was so nervous she nearly dropped her materials. But when she saw those young faces looking up at her, waiting, she took a deep breath and began. She was a little clumsy at first, but Emily quickly found a way to connect with the children. She told them stories, patiently guiding them through each word. After just a few weeks, the kids who used to stumble over their words could read short sentences fluently. Word spread fast. Parents started asking for their kids to be in Emily's class. Those who once said, "Why bother educating a girl?" were now proudly boasting, "My kid is being taught by Miss Emily." One Friday afternoon, as Emily was tidying up her classroom, Robert appeared at the door with a brown envelope in his hand. "Mail for you, Emily." Curious, she opened it. It was an acceptance letter from Butler County Community College for their elementary education program, along with a full scholarship for students with exceptional circumstances. Emily froze for a few seconds, then the tears came flooding out. She looked up at Robert, who was smiling warmly. "Dad, how is this possible?" Robert walked over and put his hand on her shoulder. "I sent in your application, along with a recommendation letter from the elementary school and your GED scores from last month. They said you were the most outstanding candidate they'd ever seen." Emily broke down sobbing and hugged her father-in-law tight. "Thank you so much." "Sweetheart, I just opened the door. You're the one who walked through it." 3 years later, Emily graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in education, graduating with honors. At the graduation ceremony, wearing her cap and gown, she walked up to the podium to receive her diploma amidst a roar of applause. Jake sat in the front row, his eyes glistening with pride. Her parents were there too, their faces a mix of deep emotion, regret, and pride. And beside them, Robert was clapping non-stop, his old eyes shining with boundless happiness. Emily took the microphone and looked down at her family. Today, I want to thank someone special, someone who saw my dream when the whole world told me to give up. Someone who sat with me for hundreds of long nights, going over every math problem, every sentence. Thank you, Dad. Robert Johnson, my second father. I love you. The hall thundered with applause. Robert just nodded, quickly wiping away a tear. Now, Emily is a third-grade teacher at the very same Greenwood Elementary. Her classroom is always filled with laughter, handmade cards, and the kids' scribbled drawings. She's one of the most beloved teachers in the school. Every week, she still makes time to visit Robert. They sit on his porch, drinking coffee, watching the sunset over the endless cornfields. One late autumn afternoon, as the sun painted the sky orange, Emily leaned her head on Robert's shoulder and whispered, "Dad, if you hadn't helped me back then, where do you think my life would be?" Robert gazed into the distance and smiled. "I don't know, Emily, but I do know one thing. When a dream truly burns bright enough, life will always find a way to protect it. The most important thing is that you never gave up on yourself." My dear friends, Emily's story reminds us that even when the whole world says no, keep your heart open for the one person who will say yes. Hope can sometimes come from the most unexpected places, from a friend, a teacher, or, like in this story, from a father-in-law who truly valued his daughter-in-law's dream. And more importantly, this story reminds us that education is the key, the door, but it's the belief in yourself and the love of those who care for you that gives you the strength to walk through it. Whoever you are, wherever you are, never give up on your dream, because when you truly want something, the whole universe conspires to help you achieve it. Sometimes all it takes is one person believing in you for you to do the impossible. Thank you for listening to this inspiring story. If Emily's story touched your heart, please like and share this video to spread this meaningful message with more people. Don't forget to subscribe to Deep Life Stories and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next deep and moving tale. Every week, Deep Life Stories brings you ordinary yet extraordinary stories, profound life lessons, and examples of people overcoming their circumstances. Let's spread the good values in life together. See you in the next story.